What's up guys, EPICJONTUAZON here, and today we have a video featuring the 1985 Toyota Supra. As in my last video I told you guys there were a couple issues, actually a lot of issues that I got to address, mainly one being the alternator, and I don't know if you saw, but the hood struts were blown, the gaskets or the oil leaked out, and there was no way for me to repair that, so I just have to replace it. And honestly it's like 15 bucks, so you might as well just replace it. Let's go look over here real quick. If you remember from my last video, we had issues driving the car home. The car died. I replaced the battery, but it wasn't charging, so I had to change the alternator. And I have the old alternator here, and it looks to be the original Toyota. It says here regulator Denso. So I don't know if I can have that rebuilt just for nostalgic purposes, but I installed a new one, which I'll take you over in a second. It was a really easy swap. It's 2 bolts, 14 millimeter, 10 millimeter. Take off the ground and whatnot, but it was super simple and super easy. And the one thing with an older car, a lot of the oil gasket or the hydraulics are going to go just with time or compression. So I definitely had to replace the hood struts that hold up the hood because it's such a heavy hood, which was only really $15, but now super simple stuff makes a big difference. So now I don't have to prop it up with a piece of wood or something laying around. It's holding up on its own. Okay, so now down to the meat of the video. So I replaced the alternator because the battery was dying and not charging. So I have a brand new battery from Duralast that's in there right now. It's charging, but the belt squeaks. So we're gonna go through a basically I'm gonna try and take everything apart again, try and adjust the tension, and you should get the gist of how to install an alternator just because it's super simple. There's really 2 bolts that hold it to the frame and the tensioner, and then basically you just adjust a little rod to put tension on the serpentine belt. Okay, so right now this is the engine bay. Typically you probably want to do this from underneath the car, but I didn't seem I had the need to. I'm going to remove this part right up here, which is part of the intake. That way it'll give me access to the actual alternator, which I'm not sure if you can see it down there. It's a bit dark. I'll try and light that up for you so you guys can take a look at it. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to unhook the negative terminal so there's no current going to the alternator, and then we're going to unhook the negative from the alternator as well as the power switch from the back. Okay, so now with the intake tube out of the way, you can see that nice and clean alternator down there at the bottom. Right over here, this top piece is the negative terminal, and then that is the power that's really charging the battery. That's the power cable. And then over here at the front, not this bolt, but there's a bolt right underneath it. Is the tensioner. So that's the one bolt that holds the alternator in, and the other bolt is right down there. I don't know if you can see that stud sticking out, but there's a nut on there, and the bolt free floats through the frame as well as the alternator that holds the other part of the alternator in place. So all you have to do is loosen that bolt and loosen the tensioner in the front, and literally you can pull out the alternator and swap it out. So it's super simple. I don't know if it's easier from the bottom, but it seems pretty easy from the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosen that 14 millimeter bolt, the 10 millimeter in the front, and adjust the tensioner. And so you'll be able to tell whether your alternator is charging by this meter right here. And when I started with my old alternator, this light was on there, and that's basically the discharge light, meaning that your battery is not being charged by the alternator. So roughly, you wanted to see it in between the 12 and 18, and it's probably pushing like roughly 14, which is great. Before, when I had my old alternator in, it was like running right by the 12 and a little less. And then when you turn on the lights, it would drop even lower. So that definitely was not good. And I think it's a super simple install. I mean, if you want to troubleshoot the wiring, you can definitely check the battery, make sure that it's actually holding a charge using a multimeter. But I knew that since the car is like from 1985, the wiring is probably pretty good because it's been sitting, hasn't been used much. And I looked at the alternator looked beat up. And I already changed the battery since the car died, which I thought it was. So I ruled that out. So swapping the alternator, again, is super easy. It's definitely something you guys can do, and something I think would be diagnostically more relevant than the wiring. Okay, so there you guys have it, the update on the 1985 Toyota Supra, new alternator and new hood struts. Next, I'm probably gonna do tires, brakes, have all the fluids flushed, just for my sanity. But yeah, that should be coming up soon. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys found this video educational. If you have any questions, definitely drop in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.